A new week means new trials and arc raiders. Let's break down the best strategies you can use to get the best score for these week's trials. It's up to you whether you want to try and push out as much score possible to rank higher on the leaderboard, or if you just want to get 3 stars so you can get the extra rewards. I'm going to break down some easy, safe strategies you can use to make sure you're set up for success. I'm going to try and go easy on the specific locations because if I share a location, then it's not going to work so well. So focus more on the strategy here and find your own little safe spot that works for you. Because if I share a specific spot, then, well, it's not going to work anymore, is it? Like, everyone else will go there. So let's start with the damage queens or matriarchs. To get the highest possible score here, you're going to basically need to solo the queen or the matriarch, which is going to be pretty hard when everyone's clambering in to try and get as much damage on it as possible. Find a nice secluded area up high against the queen and block off your exits and entrances with barricades and door blockers if possible. That way you've got a safety net against any potential pushes from PvPers. At this point, you're just going to want to use the hole cracker. The hole cracker is the best weapon for this, and you're going to get the most amount of damage for your inventory space, right? It's going to cost a lot to craft this ammo, whether you buy it from the gun shop or craft it with explosives, but it really is worth a shot. And speaking of getting worth a shot, this thing is really easy to fire from a distance, and the damage fall-off doesn't exist because it explodes on impact. So yeah, definitely the best weapon. Now here's a bit of a tip when dealing damage to the queen. If you shoot for the head and the brain, then it's going to go down quicker, which basically means you're actually going to get out less damage before the queen is dead. So instead of trying to just kill the queen, unless that's your main goal, just focus on shooting any part of the queen and breaking that armor. Once the armor is broken, any repeated shots with the hole cracker or any other gun at that point will do extra damage, giving you more and more points. So break the armor wherever you can and focus on that body part as much as possible. If ammo efficiency is your concern and you want to get the kill as well, then sure, go for the very top and just focus on that single part. But if you want to squeeze out as much damage as possible, then break armor on all of the legs, then shoot all of the legs as much as you can, but try not to destroy the legs, and then focus on the brain. I think that strategy is going to get you a ridiculous amount of damage, and if you do it solo, we're talking probably 20,000 plus. If you kill the queen before doing this strategy, you're going to end up with about 10 to 15,000 points, which is still pretty decent. As long as you're set up somewhere safe and you've got a safety system in place for any potential PvPers, then you should be good to go. Just bear in mind that when the queen is dead and you go to loot it, this is the most dangerous part because there will be other players there to grief you. So potentially think about leaving before you loot the queen, or bait the queen into the raider hatch key point on down battleground so that, if you do want to loot it and there's somebody nearby trying to ruin the fun, then you can escape quickly without having to run across the open lake to get to safety. For the matriarch, you're probably best just waiting for Blue Gate if you want an easy kill. You can go to this point on Blue Gate and shoot it whilst you're inside its shield, which means you'll be doing pure damage straight to the core of the matriarch. And once again, depending on how much ammo or time you've got, you could try to deal damage to the other body parts as well. Just bear in mind that the other arc that the matriarch calls in can be pretty dangerous to deal with. So I find just getting into this point, waiting for the shield to go up, and as the shield's up, shooting straight into the matriarch's core to be a great way to rack up a bunch of points here. Now, what about damaging leapers? Well, I've personally found the best way to go on damn battlegrounds in the Night Raid or the Electromagnetic Storm Raid. You will find a leaper spawning here at Water Treatment Control almost every single time. You'll also get another one spawning here at Testing Annex almost every time, and sometimes another one walking around in the lake. So a total of 3 spawns, and you can basically just make your way in sort of a triangle movement as you go and destroy the leapers and wait for them to spawn back and rinse and repeat. You're only going to need to take down 2 of these things during a night raid to get the full 3 stars. Although if you want to go further, then you can just rinse and repeat this route and get as many points as possible. Just make sure to note where the final extract is and prepare an exit plan for when you escape. Otherwise, you might get yourself in a bit of a difficult situation, because remember, you do need to get out alive for your points to count. For harvesting plants, the known strategy is to go onto Galleria during a night raid. Not a Lush Blooms event, but a night raid. There's just so many of this harvestable plant that it really makes it easy to gather plants here, and you'll get 10,000 plus points easy. Each plant gives you 500 during a night raid, which means you only need to harvest 8 of them to get the full thing. So if you're trying to rank up, then you might need to think of another strategy, but if you're going for the 3 stars, just 8 plants is super easy to do. It can be pretty congested there in terms of player foot traffic. So if you want a better place that's a little less filled with players, this whole trench here is filled with the same plant, as well as many mushrooms and agave as well. So you can come through here and harvest all of these plants, and you'll have more than enough to get a good score. Do this on the Hidden Bunker event, where mostly, at least during solos, players are pretty friendly, and you're going to have a good time racking up a bunch of points. Open arc probes. Right, let's talk about this one. A lot of people were probably thinking to do it during the specific arc probe event. And whilst you will find a lot of them in this event, and it's a decent way to do it, you'll find it's actually a lot easier to do it during an electromagnetic storm event. There are many arc probes in this event for some reason. Instead of waiting for them to spawn down, all you have to keep an eye out for is the smoke coming out from their crashed location. It's either going to be an arc probe or an arc courier that is emitting smoke, so you could just get up somewhere high, look for the smoke, and then go and crack it open. It only counts for the points when you loot it, and even if it has 3 containers, you'll only get the points once. But if you go by a probe that somebody else has opened, you just can loot it yourself and get the points there as well. Despite this task being called open arc probes, you really only need to loot it. During a night raid, you'll get 1,334 points for one of these. So if you're only going for the 3-star, you only need to loot 3 of these. So it's super, super easy during an electromagnetic storm event and really quick to do. If you want to rack up a bunch of points to try and get on the leaderboard, then this is probably the one to gap a lot of players, because it's just so easy to rack up so many points. For the damage flying arc enemies, anything goes really. You could bring in snitch scanners and go onto Hidden Bunker and farm them like that. You know, we've seen that work before very effectively. But for me, I found that you're going to get more luck if you try and take out a bunch of Rocketeers. So find a nice spot and set up some traps behind you to make sure that any potential PvPers get caught and you're aware of them. And then go at it with a hull cracker again. Interestingly, I found this easiest to do during the electromagnetic storm event, although night raids do work well as well, because they sometimes get zapped by the lightning, and that seems to mess with their armor a bit. They are, in my opinion, easier to take down. Now, if you shoot the thrusters on the Rocketeer, it's going to come down faster, and you're going to get less damage per kill. If you focus for the main body, then you're going to knock it down and get about 2,000 points per Rocketeer during a night raid or any other 2x event raid. So you'll only need to take down 2 Rocketeers to get the 4,000 points. And obviously, you could farm them like crazy. Blue Gate, they spawn so much. You get them spawning in pairs during a electromagnetic storm event, but there's not many good hiding spots to deal with them on this map personally. I think Dam Battlegrounds and Spaceport are my favorite because you can get up on height and bait them over with a shot from a long distance and play in and out of cover more effectively there. Overall, the choices you make to find the best spot is going to be what helps you to get the best points. It's not necessarily about the best strategy, but using the best strategy in the best location, right? So I've tried not to give specific locations in this video so you can find your own spot. Just remember that when it comes to damaging arc, the best bet is to usually try to spread your damage across the arc body so that you're doing more damage per arc before it's destroyed, right? You could shoot the thrusters on the Rocketeers, but before the Rocketeer thrusters are destroyed, then go and shoot the main body, and you're mostly going to get more damage out of it as opposed to just only shooting the thrusters. And the same can be said for the Queen and the Matriarch as well. Hopefully you found this useful. If you did, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you all in the next one.